Hi, I'm Sergey Beloy. Today is September 11, 2011, a 10 years anniversary since the famous tragic event that forever changed the United States and ultimately the whole world. Today America is in a state of high alert for possible new terrorist attacks, in particular in New York City, not knowing that another, much more dangerous kind of attack had already been started. It happened rather silently. The launch took place early this year, and also the exact date of the resulting cataclysm is still difficult to predict. The problem is, it's practically impossible to stop it. Previously unknown type of virtual missile loaded with fantastically powerful equivalent of nuclear bomb is quickly approaching the United States. America has missed a so-called critical point of returning, and it's simply a matter of time when the missile finally reaches the used to be the biggest financial capital of the world. The code name of the threat is MMM 2011, the newest global financial pyramid, the main aim of which is officially to crash the American dollar and ultimately to collapse the whole world's monetary system, and the name of the person behind it is Sergey Mavrodi. On January 10, 2011, Sergey Mavrodi announced in his blog that he was launching an absolutely unique financial social network called MMM 2011, Triple M. The abbreviation that stands in Russian for the words "we can do a lot".
Значит, вот стартует система MMM 2011. Мы можем многое.
The first thing that strikes me most about it is an unusually low level of coverage for that project from major world's mass media outlets. I would say there is a clear wall of silence around it, despite that MMM 2011 is actually an open declaration of a financial war against a superpower state of the world. The topic is practically unknown to the most of English-speaking communities. Correct me if I'm wrong. Up to now, 9 months since starting the MMM 2011, there is no single opinion from famous Peter Schiff, Max Kaiser or any serious article devoted to that revolutionary project. Why? What is so dangerous in discussing the MMM 2011? Its underlying ideas. Sergey Mavrodi reveals some secret financial laws, and this may be really dangerous. Mavrodi doesn't hide the fact that his venture is simply a classical, pure pyramid. Unlike founders of other scams, he openly accepts that from the beginning. Yes, it's a pyramid, so what? The first Mavrodi's secret is probably known to everybody nowadays. Dollar is a pyramid too. What is more, the dollar is the biggest pyramid, and that fact allows it to be a foundation for the whole world economy. Moreover, it's not clear whether other ways for creating a global financial system ever existed. Mavrodi thinks no, there has been no other ways for producing money except in using some kind of pyramids. Never. Even if just that secret alone is true, the chances are that most Americans are not going to learn about Mavrodi's ideas from the recent speeches of Bernanke. Why pyramids are forbidden everywhere, in practically any country. Why? Mavrodi says simply because pyramids produce money from nothing, from the air, from the Nile. And only owners, masters of working pyramids, are allowed to know this secret. Why pump out the oil if you can pump out the money? The aim of Mavrodi's project, however, is more ambitious: to build a pyramid that will destroy, swallow up the dollar's pyramid. However, it's forbidden to build and run your own private pyramid, as a rule by those people who already owns or controls existing pyramids. A genius of Sergey Mavrodi is that he invented a way to build his private pyramid legally. How? By simply turning it into a virtual pyramid. Not only because of operating it through his website, but also because MMM 2011 exist exclusively in minds of its participants. How one could possibly be charged for running an imaginary pyramid? Literally, it doesn't exist. Beginning with, Mavrodi doesn't promise you those fantastically high profits. In fact, he doesn't promise anything. It's difficult to believe, but MMM 2011 works quite well without any kind of obligation, guarantee, let alone written contract. Moreover, its main website just cries attention. This is a financial pyramid. It may be dangerous. Mavrodi explicitly mentions a list of all the risks that ever existed in the world, and even asks not to join the MMM. Instead, there are just his free advices. Mavrodi simply thinks that if people follow his advices, they will be able to earn at least 20% per month, as simple as that. Consequently, there is nothing to be legally responsible for. Another twist for making a pyramid legitimate is through using the elements of credit unions. Known since 19th century, people are free to interact with each other and give each other money for no reason, just because they want to. This is their fundamental right. At the first glance, MMM 2011 is a conventional pyramid scam. The working principle is deadly simple: just take money from one participant and give it to others. Also, it promises rather high return on investment, in this case it's up to 60% per month, in eyes of America, which is a homeland of Charles Ponzi, let alone the famous Bernard Madoff. It's nothing special. Ask an economist and he will say it's stupid to assume that if people decide to stand up together in a circle and start sharing money between themselves, they will become richer because of that. Well, beginning with, pyramids are a spiral rather than a circle. The constantly expanding spiral, which however inevitably stops when it reaches the boundaries of the structure. Ask any mathematician, pyramids simply crash at the moment there is no new members to join, or at the extreme when everybody on the earth is already there. And here comes the first novelty of the MMM 2011. It says no, pyramids do not crash. On the contrary, at the point of so-called crashing, pyramids become absolutely stable and secure. So unlike pyramid scams, which are created for enriching its founders during the process, the aim of the MMM 2011 is the global crash and the creation of a new, supposedly better reality. To stop Mavrodi, however, America will need to destroy itself, in the sense that it will need to kill its own life values, which America is very proud of. To shut down MMM, you need to shut down a greed, and ultimately to shut down a capitalism. That's why Mavrodi, unlike leaders of terrorism, doesn't hide himself in a secret cave. He lives openly in his apartment in the center of the Moscow and says to the world, please, please, please ban pyramid if you can or really want to. The problem is that when you start describing pyramids in a really clear terms of the law, it will appear that practically every financial organization has elements of pyramid, and they will all appear beyond the law. Banks, insurance companies, pension funds, these are typical examples of nearly pure pyramids, but there are more. A budget of any country, any kind of currency, stocks, the whole world economy. Pyramids are everywhere. Americans, including military people, maybe the first in the line for joining MMM 2011 after they learn the level of income it delivers. There's no need in special advertising. Just say you can earn 50% per month. That is, every year your deposit will be 130 times bigger. And once again, any educated person would respond to this: this is an evident scam. There is no real business in the world that is capable to provide such a profit. That's the main point of all pyramids. They can beat any legitimate business. For example, the previous Mavrodi's pyramid stock generation worked fine with providing 100% per month. Also, Sergey Mavrodi doesn't say it. My own conclusion is, and please don't think I'm crazy, chances are the MMM 2011 is capable to pay any percents. And I will talk about it later in my following videos, but digits inside pyramids seems to have very little to do with conventional mathematical laws. Financial pyramids are mostly psychological phenomena. Nevertheless, till any pyramid is alive, it gives what it promises. Besides, pyramids work under different dynamical laws that haven't been studied seriously yet. Mavrodi compares it to a bicycle, which definitely falls at a standstill, also works surprisingly well during moving. Additional factor that puts the MMM 2011 beyond the boundaries of conventional mathematical law are it's designed for super high speed and super big scale. Here I'd like to stop for a moment and make an important disclosure. I'm not selling you something. I'm not a participant or affiliate of MMM and never was. I do not receive any kind of payment or financial profit for promoting the MMM in my videos. I've chosen this topic for my mini use simply because during many years I've been searching for and seriously studying the best internet startups. So initially I found the MMM project incredibly interesting from that point of view, and that despite a rather primitive website that runs the MMM 2011. So I'm just sharing with you my thoughts about Sergey Mavrodi and his ideas. The ideas that are spread all over his numerous interviews, articles, books, his personal blog. After all, the problem is the most information about MMM is written mostly in Russian. I'm not going to say I'm a good interpreter. I'm not an interpreter at all. I'm a software developer for the internet. It just happened that my native language is Russian. Это мой родной язык, я думаю по-русски. I think in Russian. What I see today is an information vacuum around Sergey Mavrodi for foreign countries. And once again, correct me if I'm wrong, everything that could be found today about MMM 2011 at the biggest English-speaking part of the internet is rather superficial. So I've just decided to take some efforts for presenting underlying ideas, thoughts of MMM 2011, not by just translating his blog or a particular article. He has written and said a lot, rather by presenting its spirit, and that's a much more complicated job than just a translation.